the regular schedule. Again, I'd like to open up the regular December 13th, regular scheduled Board of Finance meeting. If you can join for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. All right. Again, thanks for joining us. I know Dee is on and Cynthia is on
She's
Zoom.
just joining again.
I'm sorry?
Cynthia's joining again. She
Oh,
must be in
okay.
trouble.
Yeah. Oh, there she is. Okay. So again, we'll start off the agenda. Any public input? I know we have some people. Mike's here for EDC. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Just have a question.
Okay, it's a public input, but if you have a question, please, and we run pretty loose here. If we can answer, we'll be glad.
Name and address though.
Yes, name and address for the record.
Carl Heinemeyer, 2 Clearview Avenue. Question is, a couple months ago, my mortgage went up $200 a month, and I was wondering what it might be that said it was taxes.
Well, I mean, I could try to butcher it, then Brad is here. You know what I mean? Are you on a variable rate?
No, fixed.
It's a
15-year
fixed
rate.
Fixed rate?
So your escrow went up. Check with the tax collector's office. Or you can look online. If you go to Bethel, Connecticut taxes online, you
Okay.
can see your last couple tax bills to see if your tax bill jumped. Sometimes the mortgage companies are just
Take
slow, and then sometimes they get too aggressive.
Okay.
Your taxes could have gone up $100 for the year, and they flip out and go way high. So you'd have a big escrow balance. But the first thing I would suggest is check your last 2 tax bills, see if there's a big jump there. And then really it's a question for your mortgage company of why,
Okay.
other than them just saying taxes.
It could be a
Tax bill
homeowner.
didn't jump
It could be a
by,
homeowner policy also. They can overestimate a homeowner policy, you know, and so you just got to start where the escrow was and then backtrack. So,
Is it possible, because of the reevaluations went out, is it possible that somebody got, is it possible that like the bank or something could have gotten,
Yeah.
right? Is it
Yeah.
possible they could have gotten that, so their estimate, so his bank is estimating or something?
it's possible, but it should be unlikely because you don't know what the new tax rate's gonna be until
Set the mill
Right.
rate.
the mill rate's done, just because the appraisals went way up. It just gives the town more assets in theory that they do the tax base on. So depending on what the budget increases are, the mill rate should drop. Just by how much is the question of.
Yeah. I would confirm with the tax collector, that if your tax didn't change, and then go chase the mortgage company. That's where I would start.
Right.
But thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
I'm sure he's not the only one, so hopefully, you know what I mean, like,
Sure. Definitely.
and it's gonna make me go check mine.
Right. Thank you. Thanks for
Carl.
coming in tonight.
I'll reach out to you too, and just
Okay.
follow up,
Great.
let these guys know.
Appreciate it.
Good, thank you very much. All right, no other public correspondence? Mary, is there anything correspondence? Nothing in the record? Okay, great. Again, Matt, we just a couple quick things, so, okay. Consideration for the regular November 8th meeting. Everybody's got a copy of it. Anybody have any comments or anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes of the November 8th meeting.
And I'll second Dan's motion. All right, any other discussion? Dee, Cynthia, you good on that, on the November 8th? Everybody good? Okay. All in favor on that for November 8th?
Aye.
Let the record show it's unanimous. Again, we had a special meeting. I believe it was December 1st at the end. Did everybody have a chance to look at that? You have a copy of the special joint meeting we had. That was about the HVAC system.
Make a motion that we accept the meetings from our December 1st, 2022 special meeting with the board of selectmen.
Okay, we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Bobby Joe seconds it. Any other discussion? Dee, Cynthia, you're all good?
Chairman, I have a point of order.
Yes.
I just realized that I was absent, I read the minutes, but I was not at that meeting. So I don't believe I can actually make the motion or vote to accept the original meeting, the November 8th. I think we have to go back and review that.
Were you not here for the November?
I was not
8th?
here for the November 8th
Oh,
meeting.
so you screwed this whole thing up. is
I
that what you
did.
said? Okay.
I totally butchered it, but I caught it. So I believe we have to restart that. Sorry,
Excellent.
guys.
So can we go back? Can I get a motion for the November 8th meeting?
So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from our regular meeting of November 8th, 2022.
Do I have a second besides Dan's? Bobby Joe? Thank you. Cynthia, did you have a? Cynthia, if you're talking to us, you're muted, but it doesn't look muted, but your volume's down, I guess, maybe?
Is our volume down?
No, because we heard D. Right, didn't D speak?
I can speak.
Oh, yep, we can hear D.
Yeah,
Cyn-
I'm here.
Cynthia, we just can't hear you.
Can I call her on a cell phone and just put it on speaker? Would that be legit?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just give her a call.
Yeah, you want to do that?
We can call from the official phone here.
Oh,
Okay,
let's,
yeah.
let's do that.
Okay, yeah.
Cynthia, we're gonna call your cell phone. Brad is not only the controller, but he's the IT guy in the building, so this is nice. Dan, you weren't here on the last week?
No, it's election day. I wrote it.
Oh, yeah. And then you weren't here for the first?
Hello,
Oh, yeah,
Cynthia.
so that's not this one. This is the special.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's only meeting on this.
Hey Cynthia, we can hear you now. No, oh, Cynthia, we're going back. Dan, on the November 8th meeting, he wasn't here and he made the motion, so we're gonna get someone else to make the motion.
We already did.
All right, and get closer to your phone, okay? Yes, no, we're gonna do November 8th over, and then we're getting to the December. Okay. Yep. All right, all in favor on November 8th?
Aye.
Let the record show unanimous. Back-
Okay,
Back to the December 1st meeting. I would accept the motion. Okay.
which we did. We did that. We did.
Oh, they're both, I'm sorry, I thought Dan made it also.
No.
Mary, you're okay with the December?
Which I was fine. with.
December, you
first.
have a motion and a second,
Sorry.
you just need a vote.
Excellent, so we're all set with the minutes. Thank you.
You need to go.
You need a
We-
vote.
We voted for the minutes, the special, didn't we?
No.
All in favor on the December 1st meeting?
Aye.
Aye,
I
Eight.
abstain. I abstain because I couldn't be there because of work.
exactly, so, okay, you got that, Mary?
I got it.
Excellent. All right, so we got the minutes. Well, that was a big one. All right, again, Mike Boyle is here. I asked for just a little update on this expansion of the park. We got a nice PowerPoint presentation, but Mike made the time to be here also. So Mike, if you can go over with us, it'd be great.
Sure, happy to. We have
Yep, we're working on it.
Yeah,
presentation.
let him just share that with the people in the,
Maybe it's under 5. PowerPoint. No. I don't think that's a code file. Ah, right. All right, try that PowerPoint one. You haven't actually opened,
Oh, share. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Yeah, it is open.
doesn't look like it. Oh, 'cause it's in that, okay, go back. This one, Zoom. So go back to basic. Do this one, so right here, it actually is not that show up. Could you switch to that screen? Karen? Just the little guy.
sometimes it's just like pouring a glass of water, you know? They just smooth, you know? All right,
Well
IT
done.
IT support.
exactly. Yeah, all right, Mike.
All right, here we go. Just a quick update. Next page, please. Just to refresh everybody, this is the team. Janice is actually a little bit under the weather, but with what's going around, but she is online. And We have SLR Consulting that's essentially the project manager from this oversight technical wise. TD and Sons is where the award was given to out of Bethel. Special labs, special testing labs, also Bethel, and we've done a great job. And our broker is Advantage Realty, which has been the primary broker for Park Parks since the last number of decades. So very familiar with Park. Subcommittee, we've got good oversight. Myself, Bree, as the chair for the last 14 years. And those of you who don't know me, I own Base Technologies and Park business. Some of you have visited me. Roy Steiner, who happens to own the other major park at Berkshire, and so his development expertise in terms of projects of this size is right in his wheelhouse of expertise. And then we have Nick Beatty, who's one of the attorneys. We have Steve Lamora, also on EDC commission, but he's not on the subcommittee. But Nick is very familiar with commercial real estate. So we have between the people that have been hired and we have a very strong, as I call it, quite frankly, the 18 in terms of making sure that the oversight of the project of this nature is done. Okay, moving along. Next page, please. Funding, just as what we did is just put a little timeline so everyone is a little bit refreshed in terms of, we got our state approval funding, which was last July in 2021. And then Board of Selectmen approval in 2022. Board of Finance was approval January 11th of this year. We had the town meeting on the 25th of January. And then we just see additional state funding, which is being targeted, obviously, to reduce the town spend. So what was actually approved on behalf of the town is now effectively repaid $54,000 back, $54,708 back from the state. The bid itself went out August 2nd. The bid opening was the 17th of 2021. Bid recommendation was November 17th of 2021. TD and Sons was the low bid. Procurement approval December 15th, 2021. BOS approval January 4th of 2022. And then we had to get the essentially the approval from the state bid review to make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's, and we were okay there. The state grant contract legal wise, which then we had to have town attorney review and approve and so forth. That was in March of 2022. TD and Sons contract was also done at the same time after the state essentially approved and agreed. We contracted also then with SLR on the consulting side, and then contract with STL in March. So March of this year is when everything was effectively finalized. Our kickoff meeting construction-wise was in May 25th. We've had regular status meetings the first and third Tuesday of each month at 10 o'clock, just as more of a reference time. Phase 1 construction, June 15th, 2022 through December of this year. So that brings us up. So phase 2 construction in spring of 2023, okay, which is primarily, which I'm going to cover later on, is the final blacktop coat, soft fencing,
Some equipment,
around,
yep.
fencing around the retention pond. We had our broker selection in July 20th of 2022. Broker contract in August 8th. Once again, all this documentation has been reviewed and approved by town attorney and negotiated. We pretty much knew what we wanted, so we had to get the broker, in this case, to bend to, we have, let's just call it special rates for this deal. Then property descriptions, easements, covenant and restrictions, and that was December 2nd, which was fairly recent. Quite frankly, it took a long time, but we had to be very exceptionally careful because there's a lot of intricacies that we had. For instance, there's a retention pond in lot 1. Lot 1, that retention pond, there's a potential liability to the property. So the town is responsible for the maintenance and ongoing support of the retention pond, but also our town insurance is going to give a certificate of insurance to the potential buyer, and that's going to survive in perpetuity to any future buyers of that lot. So we make sure that that is, otherwise we would not necessarily, we'd have a problem with that lot if someone was going to be deemed responsible for it. And so that was very important. The other thing, which we worked into all of the lots, what we didn't want anybody coming in and stripping the resources of the land, holding on to it for a while, speculating, and then reselling. The goal is sell the lots, put up a building, put it on the tax rolls. Okay. So we've built in some protections, including performance bonds, that will give us a little bit of juice because we had experience from the park in the past to allow us to navigate away from anybody that's actually looking to speculate on the lots. So someone that's going to end up buying that lot is going to be obligated to put the building on it, or it's going to cost them a bunch. But navigating through those legal issues that I just very briefly outlined.
Get the wording correct, right? I got
You
you.
had to get the wording correct because this is going to be part of titles and deeds and so forth. So we were all very comfortable with it and covered our bases, at least as best we can. Then, marketing plan, which I'm going to touch upon in terms of what the recommended current pricing is and where we are with that. And sale of property. Right now, we have 6 prospects, but a prospect is not a buyer. So today we have 6, tomorrow it could be 0. But we do have some interested parties. I don't know if anyone has had an opportunity to take a drive down and take a look at it.
Sure.
But it's a nice looking spot. I think really it presents well. I'm kind of after Beth and the town to help us clean up some things. There's you pull in, you see nothing but piles of pallets in certain spots. I'm not going to talk about where, but bottom line is we're very particular to make sure it shows well. Okay. So in discussion with 6, review of offers, selection of offers, contracts, that's all kind. Project budget. The approved budget in total for the construction is 1,409,650. The estimated cost of just the construction portion of the budget is 1,409,906.56 for pretty exact. Leaving us with a deficit of 1,256.56, and we paid year to date 763,312.8. Administration and inspections. Our approved budget was 98,000. The estimated cost actually is 51,390. So we expect to come out ahead on that, and cost is 46,610. Paid out 16,600. I'm not going to go through the exact numbers. State contributions is 635,17, and then that extra 54,000 that we mentioned earlier, bringing that total to 689. The approved project budget was 1,507,650. The estimated project total cost at this stage is 1,462, leaving us with a balance of 45,353. Okay, that's our current expectation, and right now.
And that's not including that 54 that goes back.
No.
That extra grant you got, right?
Yeah, that's part. Now, If you go to the next page, I'm sorry. Estimated count, right, property listing prices. So right now, we have 3 lots that are, that are going for 175,000 asking price per acre. Now, I'm not gonna say we're gonna get 175, but it's what Advantage is recommending we go out at, and then we have some room to negotiate. When we first started the project, 5 years ago, Malone had given us an estimate on a per acre price of 125. And at 125, the math, even at 125 that's no problem. So I don't want anyone here to get excited. I'm not committing to getting 175. I'm just saying that's our asking price. Now, if you look, that's the 3. So, we have 3, over 3 acres for one, that would represent 540. We have another 377. We have 4.5 acres, that's 794. And then the 1 acre, we have it, I'm sorry, at 125,000 is the one with the retention pond. And that's primarily because the footprint building size, because of the size of the lot and because of the size of retention pond, I can't, it's at a disadvantage. You can only, build a, maybe 10,000 square foot building. So, because of that footprint, so that lot is going out at 125. But the others are going out at 175. And so the total listing price is 2.155 million. Okay. And challenges. Biggest challenge we've had is been, with Eversource. From original projections, we just had to take it on the chin, and predominantly because of supply chain and supply chain costs for these boxes that we need. The quote that they told us is that the boxes went up 1,000%.
1,000%.
Now, that is, it's very frustrating for me being as a private owner, dealing with somebody that is a monopoly. I don't have another power company. So we don't, we're at the mercy of Eversource. And believe me, we have, both on the gas side, the gas side, this is how frustrating it was. And we did help, we got some help, we got our state representatives involved, we had to exercise means. Gas company said, we're not gonna put gas in until you put the buildings up. Okay? So you're gonna rip up our brand new road. Okay? And once we have a building, and the buildings aren't gonna all go up in 4 lots on the same day. So over the space of whatever amount of time and years it's gonna take to put the buildings up, you wanna come back, rip up the road for that building, put a gas line in, and then do the same thing again with the next building, which by the way is next door but further down. So now you're gonna have to. This was what they. This was, and this is and their attitude. We're a monopoly. We'll do what you want. Well, fortunately on that front, we did apply some degree of pressure from getting some help from our state rep, and we got the gas company, which actually last week finished installing the gas lines. So we have gas lines installed, and the electric is set to be done. We just have to wait for these boxes that Eversource is paying all this money, or we're paying all this money for them to install. And then their work is effectively done. In the spring, we'll come back and do that. The supply chain, when we appealed to the state financially, supply chain was part of our argument, and that's henceforth we're allocated that additional 50. A fence is going to be installed on the around the detention pond. I believe it's gonna have a 6-foot gate so that we can get access it
down.
and cut it and maintain it. And we've already been working with Public Works, and we have a budget for what's gonna be required to take care of the retention pond and make sure it's set. But once again, supply chain, we don't have the fence up yet, but we'll have the fence up. So in the spring of 2022, we will have the electrical boxes.
23.
Oh, sorry. Oh, no, you're right. 23. Thank you. Electrical boxes. We have to do butterfly enhancements, which was part of the environmental review. I mean, I'm not gonna, I can bring in a cartload of paperwork to show you what's been done.
We're good on the butterflies.
You know what I'm saying? So we've got to come up with special bushes and so forth to take care of the extremely rare butterflies.
I didn't know they were up there.
Yes, I was there. And then final pavement compaction testing, and then we're good to go. In the meantime, we're going to market. We officially will be going to market in a matter of days in terms of talking to the prospects, because now Advantage has the covenants and the restrictions and everything that they need to be able to say, okay,
Wording on the site.
when you buy the lot, this is the deal. And then we go from there.
Can we ask them questions? If you don't mind. And if you don't mind, or do you want to start, John? Okay.
I love the term performance bonds. Could you explain to me exactly how that's gonna work for somebody that wants to buy a lot? I love the idea, and I think that. a
Yeah, I mean,
successful
what they have to submit a building as part of the sale, they have to agree to take out a performance bond based on the scope of the building that they're taking. They have to present a plan, and they will be assigned let's say they have a building that's gonna cost $1 million, practically speaking. So a performance bond could be worth maybe 700,000, 70%, which obligates them to complete the building within a reasonable time frame. Okay, and we as a town have a right to exercise the performance bond to collect 700,000.
Okay, so if somebody decides, hey, this is a great plan, I want to buy lot 3, they're not buying lot 3 or making an offer until they have a site plan that's ready for
No, they can
approval.
make an offer. They have a timeline to get a site plan.
Oh, okay.
And
So-
and they still have to go through P&Z, and they have to go through all there's nothing unusual. The only overlay for this is that we have something to hold their feet to the fire in order and make sure the building is.
Right, so I guess I'm saying, so they're not buying a lot and then deciding in 3 years,
No.
geez, now I have
No.
a tenant that I need this
No,
looking
no, no,
building.
that's speculative.
Okay, and so that's
We're
not
interested
happening.
in
at all.
speculative.
And that's not a cash bond, 700,000, right? They've got to, it cost them what, 10%?
Oh, no, yeah, they're gonna,
Yeah.
they have to
buy a
pay. It's
bond.
like
No, I
an
know.
insurance,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's an insurance policy,
Right.
but it's really, they're paying.
but
for
it's
it.
checkbook that you can go back and write a check. with.
Yeah, and I don't think the performance bond will ever see that come to fruition. The reason, because the speculator is gonna look at that and say, I don't wanna touch it.
So you're going to lose him anyway.
Yeah.
And
don't want him.
and you don't want him to buy it anyway because it's
No.
not serious.
Right.
Right.
We want somebody that's coming in and.
Currently, there's a couple empty lots in the,
Yes, Cynthia. 1 sec, Cynthia.
currently, there are a couple open lots in the park, right? Do they have
No,
that
that's
stipulations?
not.
This is just new.
Yeah, this is, what happened, I mean, it was a little different, but, going back, God, I think it was, probably 7 or 8 years ago. EDC, we had, rules and regs that we managed the park. Okay, and we had the oversight of the rules and regs. If they expired from
The original
The
in the
original.
80s, yeah.
okay, and there was a town meeting and it was voted to eliminate it. So we, EDC, for any of the other lots that are currently in the park, we don't have any oversight.
They were taken
It's
off.
P and Z.
I'm sure I have more, but if you want to go to.
Cynthia, did you want to add something, Cynthia, or a question for Mr. Boyle? Well,
I can't hear it.
we can't hear you, Cynthia. Are you on your phone or the computer? If you could talk in, there you go.
go.
It's getting better. If you can hold the phone up, it's okay. There you go.
Okay. So I, one is when we approved the January, the amount was $672,633, and the approved, I mean, the projected amount for the town was like $100,000 less.
I can't understand.
Yeah, so if you can translate on that.
So Cynthia, the town contributions has dropped $100,000. It's the $40,000 that is in the balance. Plus, with the state kicking in an additional $55,000, that's the $100,000 change. So, because the projects, it can't go any higher in cost. With the state kicking in the 54, it's just 54 less the town has to put in.
I have another question.
Put the phone close to you. There you go.
Is there any sort of timeframe for selling these properties? Meaning, you say that you want to sell them at $175,000 per acre. When, and then you said you would talk to prospect next week, did you say?
She basically was asking, is there a time frame that we have to sell them by? Because we're gonna start candidating right away.
No, we're gonna start marketing right away. As soon as we start getting an offer, then we will. But there is no, we're not under any deadline.
She says that's not what we're
That's
saying.
not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is, will the decision will be made that says, we ain't selling these, let's cut them in half and sell them. Or let's decrease the price.
She's saying, what
Right.
if they don't sell?
Well, no, I mean, like anything, it's like, this is our asking price. And if we chase away all the current prospects, or we get an offer and we need to negotiate, it's like anything else. If we have to drop the price, we will.
And,
I'd like to know if you have one prospect for the 125,000 an acre.
Cynthia, what about the 125? There's 6 maybes that might be interested, and the
For that
legal,
piece of property.
No, for across the board, there's 6 prospects.
Yeah,
for
we have
any of
6,
the lots.
right.
Okay, I misunderstood that.
Okay.
So let's say you don't have any success in reaching agreement. Would it be like after 1 year, we're going to, like if you have no prospects at the end of the day?
It's like anything. Right now, we will shortly find out what the market's gonna bear for these lots, and if we need to reduce the price after a couple of months, we will. And, we'll see how our negotiations go. It's like anything else. I mean, we're
I
well.
just think it's a difficult market, that's all.
Well, it's right now, the good news is that there's still a considerable amount of demand for commercial industrial space. There's not a lot available. I mean, I own property in the park and my place is full. It's the first time it's been full in a long time. And others in the park are seeing the same thing. So, we'll find out. I mean, obviously, in the big picture, if we have a hardcore recession, if the interest rates jump up another 5 points, I mean, there's a lot of factors that affect not just commercial industrial sales, but residential sales. It's the same thing. But right now, with the town spend as frankly speaking, for what the opportunity is not that much, for what we can stand to gain. So, I mean, I'm hopeful, even like I said, 5 years ago, when they estimated 125, if we ended up getting 125, you do the math, we're still coming out
Even today at 125.
even today.
Right.
So we have room to move, but there are unforeseen circumstances, and our intention is to, like anybody trying to sell, we're trying to get the best we can. And if we need to reduce, we will.
I just think let's get it on the roll.
Right.
But I think
Right, obviously, that's a big thing, but I think I hear you say that, between the real estate agent and your board, you're going to look at it after 3 months, 6 months, a
Yeah,
year.
exactly.
You're
Yeah,
willing to,
Right now, we have, we've hired experts that have experience, and we're not gonna pretend to be something that we're not. And we have people on, Roy Steiner's a good indicator. He's selling stuff in his park all the time. Okay, we have, real estate lawyers that, we're fortunate to have this expertise at no cost to the town. And able to guide us. So after a couple of months, we're anxious to get it sold. The sooner we can get it sold, we get cash in the coffers, and more importantly to me, tax roll, get the building up, get a plan in, let's go.
jobs. In the beginning, we talked about just have a fire sale. When I opened this up this morning, I gotta be honest, there was a couple big numbers there. Obviously, the real estate agent's working on a commission. Did they try to fluff these up to shoot for the moon? And are we gonna miss a market that maybe a smaller number would have?
Right now, we significantly reduced his commission, number one.
And
As from a standpoint of what the typical commercial is. Some of the prospects are things that we have, or I should say Janice has actually nurtured herself. Okay. So between Janice, and we have a provision that allows anything that we bring to the party for a further discount from the commission. We're now gonna be pushing like hell to try to get this, so.
you're willing to move and
Oh,
make things happen.
listen,
Guys, first of all, I should have said thank you for being here. It's a better understanding exactly how the money that we approved, and I personally drove through there and I think it looks really nice, okay? Is there a number that your committee put together on what it's gonna cost per acre for site work? Did somebody, you throw it around, kind of said, geez, there's a lot of rock?
We've got some lots, there's a couple of cherry lots in there, and there's like one lot that has, gonna have a little bit more, or there's a little bit more slope. That's why lot one is kind of the least favorable, there's more slope on that one. So that, once again, even though you might be able to build a slightly bigger building, but you're
You gotta
just,
cut into it.
you're not gonna spend the money. And once again, it so much depends on the size of the footprint in terms of the building and P and Z and parking and all of that, so.
Well, you probably an application would be a 15,000 square foot building, so there's a lot of earth to move and rock to crush
Yeah,
to get a flat surface to put it on.
well,
I was just curious, is it 200,000? Is it 150,000?
I would not want to venture the cost, because I think it depends, each lot is gonna be tailored to whatever that owner wants to do in terms of that. And then if you strip a lot of that out, you're gonna make money from some of those resources.
Right, but I guess where my question leads is there some expense to do site work just to get a surface to put a building
Oh, I'm
on?
sure there will.
You know what I mean? So, Roy Steiner's dealing with sand and you're dealing with rock, as far
Right.
as.
Yeah, we will, we won't be involved with it. That's
Well,
gonna be
but
part of
I think it needs to be consideration of not a fire sale, but what it's gonna cost a developer to get a building on there to be successful. It all has to work, or
When
they're not
somebody,
gonna buy it.
once again, that's all part of the negotiation and conversation.
Perfect, but it sounds like you're on that and you're
We're
looking
we're-
forward with that.
listen, I mean, anyone that has serious intent of building a building, opening a business, adding to the park, adding to the town, we're gonna listen to.
And be convinced of hardships that the property might have, right?
Exactly.
Perfect.
If I could just jump in with one, the contingency, I'm gonna talk about, 196,000 is a big hit. We paid professionals I guess that SLR is the one that did the drawings, is that correct? Who did the
Yeah,
drawings?
Right.
So, we talk about $8,000 for the transformer boxes, and everybody knows what that is, right? Each lot gets a $8,000 box, I believe that's what the number is.
Is that the new number?
I don't know, that's not the number, it's much higher,
Is it 12,000?
much higher.
That's what I was gonna ask. That should be my question.
But
if you
it's,
wanna
it's,
ask.
Yeah, no,
it's in the
no.
196,000.
I don't have the specific number, but this goes to the increase that we're talking about, because it was from what we were told by Eversource or what was put together originally. It's outrageous,
And,
outrageous.
and again, that is for real, again,
Yeah,
they
real
spec
stuff,
it
we
out,
need it.
except we had to go down both sides of the roads. And why did not engineer, electricity works a certain way. And the change order for 196,000 was including going down both sides of the road. The original drawings only had conduits going down one side. So just as a taxpayer, how did a $196,000 change order happen?
Well, what Eversource is telling us is that because of the pandemic, that they lost, there was a great deal of turnover in their staff. So the people that had originally said, this looks like we can do something with is what was all driven to help us with the bid earlier on years ago. Now, there's a new people in town. And it's like, I don't know what Charlie said. He's been gone for years.
But
Picking a trouble.
if John and I did that, and I said an X mark was $5,000 and I died, the X mark's still $5,000.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Well,
Not with Eversource. Not with Eversource. That's why I was frustrated. That's why I went to Matt. I said, listen, Matt, supposedly, which I still quite frankly don't have an answer, and I don't know if you guys, if any of you guys have this answer. Supposedly the town has an Eversource representative.
I heard of them,
All right?
never met them. Yeah.
Okay. And that representative is to cover the needs of the town, more so in emergency.
Storm
storms
damage
and
and
so
stuff.
forth.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, we need somebody at the right level within Eversource. And Matt was following up on this. I've mentioned it to Richie as well, because I'm mad as hell, to be honest with you. All right. And I want to know accountability. Being told that, well, we don't know what Charlie said. It doesn't, I wish it did. In my company, it works that way. In this town, I hope it works this way. In Eversource, that's not our experience. And that's frustrating. And I wanted to go to the highest level within Eversource and say, really? We're trying to sell your product, more power for you to build more money. And you're trying to tell us that, you're going to throw your hands up and say, well, we're not responsible for what someone told you earlier.
Do we have paper backup from this company?
We have emails.
Okay, so
No, but you know what, Nick, I'm not even gonna try to go there until I can get somebody that really wants to listen, because I'm a volunteer just like you guys. I don't have time. Right now, I'm working as hard as we can to get this project finished, get the lot sold, and get money into the coffers and put people on the tax roll. And it's just, as a town, we learn a lesson. When you only have one band to deal with, and you don't have a backup musician, you gotta play with the band you got.
And Mike, I appreciate your time, and you put a lot of time into this town, and I appreciate it. And $196,000 is still a lot of money to both of us. And to say we don't have time, I don't like that. But if we have the backup and says, okay, this engineer said this is what we need. Eversource said back then when Charlie was there, this is what we need. And then the game changed. Someone should be accountable.
I don't disagree.
Okay, so if we get that representative, you don't have a problem getting involved and showing
Well,
them
I
the
mean, I
backup.
don't, right now, I can't get the representative.
Okay,
Nobody knows who it is.
okay, so we can work on that. Right.
Nobody knows who it is. Maybe at the end of the next election, I can get somebody to help me.
We'll work on that. You don't mind if we work on that?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, anything that you'd like to do, I'd like you please to keep in mind, run it through.
Of course.
Myself.
It's not us, it's his committee.
No, I'm talking about the Eversource.
The work's
Where's
been
Wizard
done
of Oz?
already
Right.
to run up both sides, right? That work
Yeah,
was-
no, the
The
work.
conduit had to make a
listen,
loop instead of just
listen,
straight
the
one.
work, the work,
Yeah.
yeah, the work is, yes, the answer is, the work is done, and, it's,
The new guy at
I mean,
Eversource caught it
it's-
and it's been fixed, but it's at a cost.
But it's at a cost, and it's amazing, you know, you talk about customer service, I mean, look, I don't have a problem giving my time for something that's, my time is money. I love this town, I'm doing this out of my love of the town, but I'm not gonna spin my wheels and
With no
try to
results.
chase down
I get it.
a multi-billion-dollar corporation of who's in charge to be able to get us, you know, our pound of flesh. I just won't.
And a lot of, my question was leading to, a lot of the work was having the contractor run both sides, correct? I
Yeah,
know there's some cost to the boxes and
oh,
stuff.
right, but his original bid was
And
for
that-
one down
Yeah,
side, and
I
one down.
understand.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's not like we're gonna get some windfall of cash. We should still get an answer.
Well,
But
I mean,
it's-
right, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we should sit down and, you know what? Give the town 30% less discount on our electric for the next year. I mean, help us out, all right? Come on. I mean, that's the way I look at it, but
So I kind of see it two different issues, that they spec'd out a very expensive $12,000-15,000 box times 4, right? So, and then the second part is the other side of the road to make a full loop for the conduit, right? Is there
I
two?
mean.
Was there gonna be a change order for the boxes?
Well, I mean, right now, the boxes, the drivers on the boxes is like I said, the supply chain and the cost of this stuff that went through the roof.
The price is locked in though at this point, right?
Oh, no, we're locked in. I mean, there's no, right now, as far as, like I said, right now, we have agreed with Eversource to their outrageous demands. And we're done with them. for now.
The loop and the boxes.
Yes,
You come to a price.
the conduit and the
Everything,
hardware.
Everything. The only thing, like I said, the only thing we have left is for the boxes to be installed,
And the second top coat.
the top coat and the fence.
Yes.
I have, so the state grant, the MAA, whatever that means, of 54,000, right? It seems like you went back at them again
Yeah.
because there was high, but was that available a year ago when
No.
you're trying to, okay, yeah, so explain to me
That's
why
new
that
money.
money became available.
Because we had projected for a lot of the original site testing and environmental testing, monies that were approved for specific parts was not utilized. And they had every right to say, okay, well, it's our money, so, you know, you don't need it. They agreed to, we knew about it.
Pre-construction stuff, is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
it's all
Environmental?
pre-construction. All the approvals that we needed to get from the state. So they agreed that that excess money that we had already identified to be allowed because of supply chain and the issues that we were having to take that money and allocate it.
To offset the 196 because. of
Well,
all-
yeah, I
in
mean-
your head, you can offset the 196.
Right, at the end.
You
of
would have got
day-
the 54 even if we'd have paid a
Right, at
196.
the end of the day, I mean, I prefer to keep math as simple as I can. All I know is that, you know, it's reducing our spend by 54 grand.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Bottom line. You got
Got
it. I got it.
Thank you.
Dee, Cynthia, did you have any other questions? Dee, thumbs up?
I'm good. Thank you, Mike, for doing all that you do for the town, for shepherding this, and also to Janice, because I know it's a lot of work. So thank you.
Well,
Everybody else good? Done?
everybody good?
Mike, thank you for coming and spending the time.
All
We
right,
do
hey.
appreciate it.
Happy to.
All right, thank you.
That's, I hope in the not too distant future, we can be celebrating a windfall.
Definitely.
The last lot sold.
Merry Christmas.
All right, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Good night,
Christmas. Take care.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, I think that was a lot of information. I think it was good information. All right, so we're down to the meeting schedules. Mary gave everybody a list of the projected meeting schedules. Obviously, if there's an issue, everybody can't make every meeting. Dee and Cynthia, you've seen this list, obviously. Everybody's good with it?
So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the schedule, the 2023 regular meeting schedule as presented from our secretary.
Second,
Okay, so we have a motion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Record show unanimous. And Mary, you get this off to the town clerk?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, controllers report.
All right, so I printed out the controller's report.
Could you make it any smaller or? I'm not
I
sure.
could, I guess. Isn't it small enough, John? I don't know why
You know
wanted
what,
it
we can get
small.
Mike, can he get the 17-inch paper maybe and get the bigger print?
I think we can fit it on 2 sheets.
Oh, look, we like to conserve money. in finance.
And I like that.
So everything, there's nothing crazy out of the ordinary. So unless you have any questions about this, I was just gonna talk about some other stuff going on, finance related. First off, between our 2 meetings, we locked in for gas, diesel, and oil. It was the lowest we'd seen in a couple of months, so we jumped at it.
Good for you.
We may kick ourselves that we jumped at it then.
It's
We
been
may
going
be
down.
thrilled. Who
It's been
knows?
going down.
I know. But we don't worry about what it's going down to right now, except maybe we could have locked in lower. Our fear was what it's gonna jump to. So for gasoline before the CRT tax, $3.17 a gallon, diesel $3.79, oil $3.94. So
And last February, it was about what? You know what I mean? Because that was the gamble,
our
right?
last time we locked in,
Yeah.
gas and diesel were below 2.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
After
what
it
the
went
highs were?
crazy and you had.
The high for gas, that one I have stuck in my head, we saw 370, like within the last month and a half. So, 53 cents difference. Obviously, we weren't gonna try to lock in at the high, but we
Yeah,
could
so
have
you're
been sitting
playing
here
it.
going, why didn't we lock in at 370?
No.
So,
And you're probably sleeping better. Good job.
no, because it's still, these numbers still stink, but at least,
Well,
I guess there's nothing, I can't stress about it as much anymore, because we're not riding the wave anymore.
right, that's what I mean.
Next thing I have is, so the police, the body cameras, that was approved out of capital non-recurring. They said at the time, we don't think we're gonna get any grant money. We're gonna apply, which I guess a lot of other towns didn't think they were gonna get it, so they didn't bother applying. The state approved this week, $46,459.
That's excellent. What was our total spend on
I think was it approved for 400? I don't have that in front of me, I'm sorry.
it? Cynthia, do you remember how much it was? Oh, shit, what did I ask? Do you remember how much that original was? I mean, you can't sit, don't.
Whatever it was, it's 46,000.
Yeah, so that 46,459 will just offset the cost, so in theory, it goes back into capital non-recurring. So next time we have anything capital non-recurring related, you'll see a reduction in there once we actually get the money. Last thing I wanted to update the board on, so just today I sent out to all the department heads, the Open Gov is set up for them. The boards won't be able to see it until after it's all finalized. I gave them a deadline of January 15th, so a solid month to input everything. That includes all the ones I have to do with Sebi. So we'll do all that. After January 15th, the department heads will meet with Rich and I, just kind of talk through what the requests are. Pretty much just a first set of eyes on it, make sure they didn't miss anything, try to catch anything that might be duplicated, whatever. And then we're gonna start the presentations this year after the special election. So last year we started the presentations February 1st. With the special election going on, Mary and I sat down and looked at the schedule. We have time to start it after the special election on the 7th. So that's what we're gonna do. We had an extra like 2 or 3 weeks between when the Board of Finance was done and when we had to be done for the public hearing last year. So we have room in the schedule. Obviously, knock on wood, we don't get snow every time we go to meet. I guess in this day and age of Zoom, maybe we get to do some of it, but if we had to, I'd rather tighten it up. But I think it made sense to have not an acting first selectman, but a first selectman when we start budget presentations. In theory, with Dan running against Rich, both of them would be there anyway, but I'm like, let's just get that piece done. So,
For the presentation part.
yeah, so we won't do a presentation obviously on the 7th. Maybe that Thursday we would start, but really the following week we'd do at least 2 nights.
So just remind me again, all the boards, all the department heads are presenting to us as a joint meeting,
Correct.
but Rich did not, the Board of Selectmen did not. The Board of Selectmen's going to do their budget after our presentations.
Yeah.
Okay.
So department heads all present to both boards. the Board of Selectmen do their deliberations.
And
The
then
first
present.
selectman then presents the Board of Selectmen budget to the Board of Finance. Some nights that was a 25-minute meeting and then nothing. And other years it was 25-minute presentation, then the Board of Finance starts deliberating. Obviously, we'll look at the timeline and how people are feeling. And then the Board of Finance presents, and then you gotta leave time to do the notices for public hearing. Board of Finance meets after the public hearing, notice the town meeting to the referendum.
The selectmen won't adopt a budget until after the special election. Is that correct?
They're not even gonna get presented. I
That's what I'm
think.
saying.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll have full boards at some point during the presentation. You know, so
With
with the two
vacancy
people
and all
running against each other, they'll be there either way.
Yeah.
But I'm like, let's see if we can settle it, because either way, we gotta fill a seat. Either the Board of Selectmen need to fill a seat or the Board of Finance.
Yep.
So we'll be down one person, but at least we'll have a better understanding of
Yep.
who's where. So, and that's everything from my comptroller's report, unless somebody has some questions.
I'd make a motion to accept Brad's report tonight.
I'll second that.
We have a second, do we, any other discussion on that? Hey, you're good. Cynthia, I see shaking her head. Okay. All in favor on that motion?
Aye.
Record show it's unanimous. We don't see an agenda, but I would accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.